Now, as I've grown older, I've gotten out of the fighting game per se. I played a little bit of Dragon Ball Fighters, a little bit of MK11, but I don't go hardcore like I used to because I don't have any need to anymore. I'm not in college anymore. I don't have to up my game per se. I would love to play Tekken 6, but that's here nor there. But I still watch a lot of fighting games. I still watch UMBC 3. I watch MVCI. I watch a little bit of Tekken. I watch MK11. I watch a lot of stuff. And I saw recently, sorry, that the reason why there was turmoil a little bit at Capcom globally was because America wanted a story mode in Street Fighter V, but Capcom Japan didn't want to. And I'm on the side of Capcom Japan in this side, and I'll tell you why. The reason is because not only was the story mode crap, it looked like garbage. It didn't have any true impact on anybody. Does anybody remember or care about anything in the story mode other than like Lol Ryu wins at the end? He was absent the entire time, and then he pops in out of nowhere and he gets the KO for the win. It's like whoop de doo. I mean, like it looks horrible. It doesn't animate properly. I mean, like it's just sloppy. If you're not going to implement it well, just don't bother doing it in the first place. And besides of it being obviously bad and obviously cringe for a lot of people, it's when you think about what it costs to develop that kind of thing. You got to pay the voice actors, you got to pay the animators, you got to pay the sound guys, you got to pay a lot of people to get it done. And those sources and the time could be to other particular things, making other stages, balance changes, more characters, things that you actually want in a game, in a fighting game. So the story mode didn't need to be there. However, am I against a little story? Of course, I'm not against a little story. The way it worked back in the day that everyone loved was that you play arcade mode, which I would hope would be in our Street Fighter 6. They don't abandon arcade mode and just have network online play only. That would be some stupid ass shit. The reason why you need an arcade mode, just a regular arcade mode with difficulty levels here and there, maybe throw some gimmicks in there or whatever. Just regular arcade mode. The reason why you need an arcade mode in there is because when someone plays online and they lose a little bit there, they get a little bit salty. They want to practice their moves on the computer a little bit there that's not in training mode. They want to actually practice it against like several different people in a row or whatever, different characters in a row, and they want to ease some stress a little bit there by playing against the CPU, who may be a little bit more easy to predict than, crazy ass humans who like to do cross ups and empty jump and lows, yada yada yada. So the arcade mode should be there. Also, you can sprinkle in text only. Yeah, forever in the future, text only. You can do different camera angles and things like that to make it sparkle, different lighting effects. But text only rival for a story type element in arcade mode. I believe SNK did this first because Street Fighter 2 and Champion and Turbo and Super didn't have this feature. They had like a little story elements at the end against Bison, but more or less, I believe I think it was mainly Tekken who did this first. Like Tekken or SNK, it was all around the same time in the mid '90s. I think it was Art of Fighting who did this first actually, and that was around Street Fighter 2's beginning. So like they have like a story mode, like a story mode per se per character, and so you come in there and you have a little bit of like trash talking to the character, your rival or whatever, and you have more trash talking at the very end. And SNK Games did that from Art of Fighting to Fatal Fury to King of Fighters. They did something similar like that one. Last Blade as well. They did that kind of stuff and it worked out fine. No one complained. It was okay. The reason why you do text only, you don't got to pay any actors for that one. You don't got to pay any extra actors to fly in case another character comes in. You're not gonna fly another voice actor in or on the phone or whatever, and then have them say this line differently to that person. All you need to do is just add text and continue making the characters in-house at Capcom JP and just do it from there. Um, So the characters in the game when they're fighting, of course, would talk regularly, but in if the story quote unquote story mode, the arcade mode, just text only. Text only for the rival and text only for the boss encounter at the very end. The boss says something different to each character that they're up against, so it's not the same thing every time. So like 2 3 lines of dialogue, just nice and quick there, end it there, and do that. It's pretty quick and simple, and they should do that one for the future of the franchise. Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 7, Street Fighter 8, yada yada yada. Just have text for arcade mode. You can make it look different. You can make it sound different. You can do different lighting effects there, camera angle changes, different things with the bubble or whatever. It's not super duper important. If you can afford it and you can make a lot, if you can afford it and do things like that, go for it. I believe with MK11, they have like a really good story mode. I mean, like it's just like you control the character every now and then for the story mode. Theirs is done well. They know what they're doing over there for their arcade mode. But no, but for their story mode, arcade mode is like the same thing as back in the day in 1995 when MK1 came out. It's the same thing. You go up a tower and you fight enemies. Different gimmicks like for the other MK games. But for the future, I am 100% behind. No more story mode. You try twice with Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. You can't do it well. Don't bother. But you do unique, cool characters well. So do that one. Save your time, save your money, bring us some new characters. And for God's sake, let Vega's Claw be gettable again. Don't have it disappear into the abyss. What were they smoking?